Welcome back to DadSchooled Podcast. This is Josh, and that is Jimmy, and I am excited that it actually worked on the first try for going live today. We didn't have to. Well, I didn't have to sit here and beat my head against the computer for an hour, so that was good.
Yeah, we're off to a rip-roaring start.
Rip roaring start. I like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of rip roaring starts, Jimmy. Okay, hold on. We're gonna get rid of that because it dinged. Okay, sorry. Jimmy had a great past couple days. You want to tell us about your days?
yeah. No, yeah, it was exciting. Our oldest just turned 14, and about I guess like 2.5 weeks ago, she decided that she was ready to start reading Lord of the Rings. Like, we read The Hobbit a handful of times, and she loves other fantasy series, Wing Feather Saga, Green Ember, and all of those. She's ripped through those like tons of times, and she's always, I think, been interested in Lord of the Rings, but was always just kind of seemed daunting. You know, that's the pinnacle book series. So she picked it up about 2.5 weeks ago. Well, she finished it in 2 weeks, like the whole thing, just like all three books, just plowed through them. She couldn't put them down. Just walking around the house, one room to the other. If she was just like, I got to go get socks because we're about to leave. She's like, well, I could get a page in. So, she had her book while she was going to her room to get her socks. But yeah, so she finished them. And it just so happened to line up that her mom and younger sister were gone for a camping trip this weekend. And so it was just me and her for one night. And Friday night, and it was just the two of us. We had some other things we had to tackle. She had her birthday party on Saturday, so we had a lot of prep work to get done for the birthday party. But when we weren't doing that or homework, I told her, okay, we could get started with watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy extended edition. Since you've finished the books, then I actually have someone I can share this with in the house, and I'm very excited. And she was stoked. We got some snacks, and we sat down and started the trilogy, and now we're 45 minutes into Return of the King. We don't know when we'll get to finish it just yet, but yeah, it's been fun getting to share that with her. She's loving every minute of it, and just soaking it up. It's been fun.
Now, Jimmy, I believe you did this correctly. I tried to show Lord of the Rings to my wife, and I very stupidly started with The Hobbit, thinking that chronologically it'd be better. And I was wrong, because like the first 45 minutes is a bunch of dudes singing in a hobbit hole, and it's very like not lore intensive, or it is very lore intensive. It's not action intensive. And the storyline's pretty dry. And my wife almost like left me for that week, I think, because I made her sit there and watch that. I believe we powered through it, and then we ended up going through the actual Lord of the Rings, and she was like, my gosh, these are way better. I'm like, yes, way better.
Yeah, my daughter asked, she's like, well, she asked whenever we were going to start the movies, when we were getting the movies out of the cabinet, she's like, well, I've read The Hobbit a ton of times. Like, could we start with that one? I'm like, no. We'll start with, these movies are much better. The Hobbit movies, they're good. They're all right.
Yeah.
But we're going to start with these. And
you know what? When she goes back and you do watch The Hobbit, she'll appreciate that. When you go back and watch The Hobbit, she'll be like, first of all, her first question is going to be, why are there 3 movies when, or is there 4 movies?
No, it's 3.
3? Okay. Why is there 3 movies and 1 book? And I'm like, that's a good question. Because I actually bought The Hobbit and all 3 Lord of the Rings books in a pack, and they're sitting on our nightstand because there was a fancy pack. It looked really cool on our bookshelf we didn't have made yet, and I made Luke read The Hobbit, and it took him a while. I mean, I wanted him to go through it. I thought he'd be excited. He did finish it, and then he would not read the other ones because it was just such a long process. He's not the best go-getter reader person. I wish he was, but maybe that can change with material. I thought this would be the switch to make him start doing that, but we'll find something else. Maybe I don't know. You think Wing Feather would be good for a boy, or is it only girly?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wing Feather? Oh yeah, no, it's awesome for boys.
Maybe I'll try to get that in there somehow. Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
so you had a busy, good weekend. Had lots of partying and presents and gnashing of teeth. It was good, right?
Olive Garden lunch yesterday.
Olive Garden. Oh man, I'm still feeling that lunch. That was amazing.
It was a big lunch.
I had the tour of Italy, and it was.
You saw every corner of that beautiful country,
all
on one plate.
It was very humbling, I could call it, or depressing to watch me get the tour of Italy, and then you and your wife get the tour of Italy and share it. And you're like, "Oh, this is good. I'm full." I'm sitting there looking at my plate; it's empty. I'm like, "Yeah, me too."
No, well, it used to, whenever you would split the tour of Italy, they would give you each a plate with your own portion, and it was almost like you're getting full portions, each of you, and then you're paying the split price. But they apparently stopped doing that. I don't know.
They caught on to
But
you.
we used to do that all the time. We'd split it, and they're like, "Here's your 2 portions, and you're paying one price." But they don't. Yeah, I guess we lost that hack.
All right, so today I'm going to preface this as I do all of our podcasts with, we are not the experts, but I feel like I'm more of an expert in this than anything else. I want to say I'm an expert in being a dad because I'm a dad, right? And so are you, Jimmy. But the topic is high level accountability, and what started this was my work. That I have a full-time job. They did a manager's retreat recently, and they had us read a book, and it was about accountability in the workplace and what it means, all these different, strategies and tactics. It was a book by Henry J. Evans, and I don't know anything else about this guy other than the fact that he wrote this book and I had to read it. So like already I was forced to read a book I didn't like choose to read, so I had a bad taste in my mouth going into this. But I read the book and it was decent. I got past the introduction and it was actually pretty good. But I started thinking about like the principles of accountability in the workplace and how it applies in my life as a dad and our life as like husbands as well. And then we had a conversation at the table yesterday about home projects and getting them done. And I was like, oh man, okay. So the pieces are falling together here. So I'm gonna preface this whole thing with I felt extremely convicted while writing this one up today. And I think I've discovered some inner problems in my household because of this, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. But so accountability. Here's a quote from Henry J. Evans. Our kids don't learn accountability from. Actually, no, this is me modifying his quote. Okay, sorry. Our kids don't learn accountability from lectures; they learn it from what we do. Okay, and we've kind of preached this the past couple, all of our podcasts. Our kids watch us.
Yeah.
Our kids. Yeah, we teach. That's our job. But the very beginning of this whole accountability journey at my workplace, it started with clear communication and clear commitments. Okay. So that got me thinking, and I'm gonna stop here for a second and go down Josh's make-believe story time. Okay, that's what we're gonna call this segment here. This is a hypothetical story. It did not happen. I'm gonna say that it did not happen. But let's just say that I was gonna go to one of my kids' games. Okay, and they're excited for me to go to the game, and I tell them I'm going to the game, and let's just call it volleyball because my kids play volleyball, so why not? And they're really excited, like, Dad, come to the volleyball game. And I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely I'm gonna be there. As long as I don't have work, I'll be there. Maybe we'll see. Day comes and goes. Dad does not show up for some reason, some way, shape, or form. Dad's not there, and then the kids are like, Dad, you weren't at the game, and Dad was like, oh, yeah, I had work. I was busy. Sorry. That's it. Okay. Now, let's run that through again. Okay. Dad, come to the volleyball game, and I would say, I will absolutely be at that volleyball game. Okay. The volleyball game is important to me. It starts at this time. I will be there with you at the volleyball game for sure. Okay. And then I show up. Now, there's two scenarios here on top of these two scenarios. I show up to the game and everyone's happy and we move on, right? And you don't think anything else of it. But here's a common problem that some dads out there might face. You don't show up. Something happens. Life happens. Work calls and basically gives you an ultimatum. And you can't control sometimes. Yeah, you can stand up against work and say family times comes first and then lose your job or whatever happens. I'm not, whatever the scenario might be, but you miss the game. Okay. Now you have a choice. You can either wait for your kid to address it with you, or you can be proactive and address it with your kid the first you see them. You can come up to them and be like, I'm so sorry I forgot your game, or I'm so sorry I couldn't go to your game. Here are the reasons. I apologize. What can I do to make it up for you? That's one scenario. Or you can, they can call you out and be like, hey, Dad, you weren't at the game. You said you'd be there. And you can be like, yeah, well, I had to work and put food on your table and that roof over your house, the roof over your head, your house, that comes from me working hard. There's many different ways you can take that, but it's how you approach that response, I think, is the important takeaway in this moment here. Okay. So end of dad make-believe story. I was just trying to make a point there. But Proverbs 28:13 says, whoever cancels his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses, I messed that up. Let's start over. Whoever conceals his transgressions, that makes a bigger difference when you say the right words. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obey mercy. Okay. This basically says owning our mistakes shows our kids that confession brings mercy, not shame. Okay. So if we are proactive and own what we did wrong, instead of waiting for someone to come and then giving ourselves that, that tie into, or that the possibility of being defensive when you don't need to be defensive. I think that's a powerful thing. Jimmy, comments.
Yeah, like the whole dad missing the baseball game. It's like one of those tropes from almost every 90s kids movie where there's like some kid that needs to be mentored, or he's going to go through some sort of life change, and there's a scene where he's it's usually a baseball game, maybe a basketball game, but usually a baseball game, and he longingly looks over at the stands, and the stands are packed except for there's one little spot where there could be a person sitting and there's not, and that obviously is their dad's seat, and the kid keeps looking at that one hole in the crowd knowing his dad said he would be there and he's not there. And then hilarity ensued, and dad apologizes, and child and dad bond again or something. But absolutely, it's something that this is one of those things that could sneak in distrust or issues between any parent, but especially fathers and their kids, giving your word on something that you're not able to follow through on, or you just straight up forget, or you neglect keeping tabs on things because you're not organized well, or you don't make it a priority. There's a lot of background of why these kinds of mistakes or decisions or just misplaced prioritizations can come up. For me in particular, I have a tendency to just over promise on quantity of things, and then there's not time to get them all done. I'll say yes to things I have the ability to do, the skill, I should say. I can do these things. Getting them all done in one day, probably not realistic, but I'll say, yeah, I'll get to that on Monday, and yeah, I'll do that too. And then, and then that, and then that, and then that. And then by the end of the day, well, did you get those 7 things you said you'd get done? Well, no, I probably got 4. That's the hole I dig myself too often. It's what I've been working on for the last couple of years, when I kind of realized that was the root of a handful of my problems, and I don't have it solved, but that's what opens up too many challenging issues for me in my days.
So I'm not gonna do this anymore today, but I will say, like, here's the book. Flash, not promoting it at all. I'm not getting any kickbacks. I'm not gonna show it too long. All of our massive amount of viewers.
Not a sponsor.
Not sponsored, right? But there is one quote. I dig dog ear in this thing, and you just hit on it, and I wanted to say the quote perfectly instead of trying to mess it up in Josh's paraphrase, right? So people do what is important to them, you can always see what's truly important to another individual by what they choose to do and how they choose to spend their time. I mean,
that's pretty accurate.
That's pretty accurate. Like, if you look at everything in your life that you commit to, and then the things you actually follow up and spend time on, that's where your heart is. That's where you want to do things. And I'll admit it. I'm a 90%er on projects. I get 90% of the way done, so it's functional, and then I stop. My house is full of these things. I have a closet upstairs that the floor is not done yet. That's like a 99%, I think, because I did all the main floor, changing it to hardwood. But that one closet hasn't been done yet. And at this point, I'm pretty sure I have to buy a new box of wood because I've used it everywhere else. So that's like the other hurdle. And I got to take the vacuum cleaner out, and it's a dark and tight space, and it's no fun. But I do need to finish that. So this is like this episode's dangerous for me right now because I'm feeling convicted as usual about every single thing that's not done in my life. The floor, the ceiling down here in my basement, I haven't done that yet. These cabinet doors for a bookshelf I just built, I gotta do that. That's all I'm gonna own up to right now. But 90% is how I live my life, and that's so I started thinking, and this is why the whole big tie-in for me is. And while we continue throughout this, think about this over and over again. It's gonna make more sense. We've recently had a problem with our kids. We have it every now and then where they don't put as much effort into something that we want them to. Like, we find them on YouTube or just playing games. But video games is an important part of my life. And my kids enjoy playing games with me and with their friends, and I like to nurture that, but I like to do it healthily. I like them to be addicted to it. I try to make it so they're not. It's really hard, but I put a lot of restrictions on what games they can play and how long they can play some things. But when your schoolwork starts to slack, you start getting mad at your kid, like, why didn't you do your work? Why didn't you finish your assignment? Why didn't you do something? And then you do an episode like this with your good friend Jimmy, and you're like, dang it. It's my fault. I've been preaching modeling to your kids for how long? Almost a year now. We're coming up on a year almost for this podcast and another month or so. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
This is episode 40 if people weren't counting. Jimmy's mom's like, I've been on every single one. But it's my fault. I've been modeling this to my kids their entire lives. I get a little bit there and then I do something else and I don't finish it. And my kids don't see that that discipline from their own dad to finish a project. So that's interesting. I don't like that. I need to fix that. Yeah. So I'm going to be working on that. That's like my November Josh is fixing these things. But continue on.
You're not going to do no shave November?
No. My wife hates it when I don't shave, and I need all the help I can get with her. So I got to shave that down.
All right. Priorities.
So we haven't even gotten to point number 1 here. We got to hurry up, Jimmy. So the setting clear expectations. Okay. So in parenting, clarity is love. You know what? In everything, clarity is love, isn't it? And clarity is everything. If you're unclear at your job place, your manager doesn't know what you're agreeing to, or you don't understand what you're agreeing to. In your marriage, if you agree to something as a dad or as a husband, and you don't fully understand what you're agreeing to, that's a problem, because at some point that's going to come up, bite you in the butt when you realize that you missed something. And then that's when problems start, right? With your kids, this is an area you can't afford to be unclear, because you create your own problems really fast. If you tell your kids, get off the computer in a couple minutes, in a little bit, that's very vague, right? If you tell your kids, get off the computer in 5 minutes, and you set a timer, that's very exact, and you can't change that. Okay. For example, being direct. Okay. So like, hey kids, we'll eat dinner together at 6:30 p.m. tonight. Okay. Or I'll help you with your homework until about 7 tonight. No, not about. I did it again. See, that's easy to slip into that. I'll help with homework until 7 p.m. That's exact. There's an exact time. Unless your kids are in different time zones, you shouldn't have this problem. That's another problem we had at work. Was like, you have to say time zones, and you can't say end of day, because end of day could be when you go to bed. It could be at midnight. It could be 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock for different people.
Before work starts the next morning.
Exactly. That's actually one of the people in our group said that, like, end of day means before the next morning. I was like, no, it doesn't. It's the same day. And that was like proving the point.
That's terrible.
It's like, you are a procrastinator. But you avoid statements like later, maybe, we'll see. That's I say those all the time, don't you? Like,
oh yeah, too often.
Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see if we have time.
Yeah. Like, this is the sort of thing, like I was saying, learning for me, making or saying yes to too many things. What I've been able to sort of work into a practice that absolutely has made a difference is actually making a checklist each day. And it's the simple process of actually, okay, what is it that we're talking about needs to be tackled today? And I just get out my phone, because I'm terrible with pencil and paper. So I just have the notes app on my phone, and I make a little checklist on my phone. It's got the little circles that when you tap it, it puts a little check mark in. It's a beautiful piece of design. Like, it just feels good when you can close the little circle. But even just the practice of putting things on a list and actually seeing it in front of me, and not just rolling around in the back of my head like, okay, here's all the things I need to do today. But whenever I have it in front of me, typed out, I'm going, oh, that's too many things. And trying to like sort them in an order of, okay, I'm going to do, this is the first thing that needs to get done. And then we're doing this and we're doing this. And then I can start to figure out, oh, like, I need to maybe push that one off until tomorrow, or, the next day, or this one isn't as priority as other. And just actually taking a simple step as putting them on something visual has helped me prioritize, and then I'm able to be at a more accountable level just by doing that. Has made a huge difference for me.
Yeah, definitely. And clarity is golden. And like, this might be considered cherry picking by some, but it fits completely into this context. So I'm going to say it anyways. Matthew 5:37. Let what you say be simply yes or no. I mean, the Bible's clear on what it says as well. There's no ambiguity. That's words. Ambiguity. Yeah. There's no mixing up of it should be this or it could be that. There's no misinterpretation. There's plenty of places that people apply their own interpretations, but when you use a clear yes or no on something, that's very clear. And when you're being consistent to your kids, a yes or no teaches them trust with what you say. Because if I go around all the time, and I once again, convicted moment here, but my youngest comes downstairs and he is trying to do soccer or play games down in our basement, and I'm working, and all day long he's like, can you play? Can you play? Can you play? I'm like, I'm working. I have that talk with him every single day. And then every now and then I cave, which is my own, I feed the issue, I think. I have 5 minutes. So then there's always, do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 5 minutes? And I tell him maybe I'll have time. I don't know. We'll see if I have time. And it's really like, I string him along because I want him to be like, I don't want to disappoint him. I don't be that dad that's like, no, get out of my office. Boom, shut the door on him. I feel that way. But as soon as I do that, I'm really guilty. Like, I feel really terrible about it because I want to hang out with my son too. But I have a job to do. And I don't know, it's hard. Like, I go through the whole scenario like every single day with him pretty much. If I was in the office, I would not be able to hang out with you at all. And he's like, what's an office? Because he has no concept. Ever since he's been born, I've pretty much been at home. Like, maybe a couple months when he was an infant, like one or like barely even a half a year old, I was in the office. But ever since like COVID, I've been in the basement here at home. He's never experienced me going away. Like, my other kids have experienced me leaving before they get up and coming home after 5 or 6 at night every single day, and mom dealing with everything. So it's a different world for him. And I feel guilty. That's mostly on me. I should just tell him no. And I feel guilty.
It is wild thinking about just how different experiences with each year kids, because our kids have about a 6-year almost a 6-year age gap between the two of them. And so, yeah, their experiences of growing up and what household life and, scheduling and the ebb and flow of this and that things. Yeah, totally different. And it does. It makes a huge difference from child to child, and it's wild.
Yeah, and same with us too. My girls are 12 and he is 6 now, almost 7. So there's a 6-year gap there. My son's 14, so even bigger gap. Okay, so along the same lines we were just talking about, being specific, okay? Because if your ambiguous language leads to disappointment, okay? And I think we all understand how we get there with that. Like saying I'll hang pictures on Saturday at 10 a.m. and that's pretty precise, and someone can put a stopwatch to it and hold you accountable to it, right? I'm trying not to use the word accountability because that's what we use that like every other word in our manager's training session. But if you tell your wife, and how many times have you done this? I'll do it soon. I'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost there. That
yeah.
Specific. Oh, that word
Specificity.
There we go. Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah. That's why you're here.
We got it.
Say that word again.
Without ambiguity.
No, don't use them together. Okay. It models integrity and reliability. Man, a lot of ability words here. Who wrote this?
Yeah.
Galatians 6:4. Let each one test his own work, for each will have to bear his own load. Okay. So specifically owning your commitments teaches our kids how to carry their own in this world, right? If we tell our wives, I will finish this floor this weekend, right? And that's bleeding into the next section. Good job, Josh. Good tie-in. If I tell my wife, I'm going to finish this floor this Saturday at 8 a.m., I'm waking up and doing that. Okay? I communicated that to my wife. I shared my plans with her. I made her my accountability partner, if you will. That's a word in the book. Sorry. But I shared it with her, and it was also public for my kids to hear, right? They hear me make that, and so now I have a choice. Either I follow through or I don't. The benefits of following through after doing that publicly is now Dad's word is stronger. Dad's word means more because he said something and he followed through. There is an actionable item attached to what he said, and you can measure that and say, oh, he actually did that and followed through. So you go up like on the notch, one peg higher on Dad's word means more, right? Because you think about that as a dad, how much does your word mean, Jimmy, if you always like don't do what you're saying you're going to do?
I mean, it's just the thing we talk about all the time. What we do, our actions and decisions we make, we're training up our children to understand this is their reality, or this is what the expectation is now going to be. And as much as it pains me to say, every time I miss a promise that I've given, or said I'll get something such done, and I don't, I've trained them that A, Dad's not reliable, and B, it's okay for me to do that. And those are both lessons I don't want them to learn. So yeah,
exactly.
Definitely something for me to take to heart.
So taking like how as dads, what can we do to help ourselves? And I guess I did this backwards, but I'll ask it this way anyways. As a dad, something that I can do to help myself actually follow through, while keeping that in mind, the outcome of not following through on my actions is that I'm teaching my kids that I'm not worth, my word's not worth a hill of beans. It doesn't hold any weight. Whenever I say, because I said to do this, your kid has every, not right, but they could come back and say, well, you said you do this and you didn't do that. It's like, ooh, you're right. But so what can we do as dads to ensure that we follow through? And I kind of already said one of them, sharing your plans with others. My dad taught me this a long time ago. When you say your schedule to somebody and say it out, that makes you more accountable. Like you feel like you have to do it now because you're not going to disappoint somebody else other than just yourself. Because everyone lets themselves down every day. That's easy. I'm an expert letting myself down. But like letting my wife down, that's harder to stomach. I don't want to do that. Like I do it all the time as well. Don't get me wrong. But I shouldn't want to. It adds a little bit of weight behind something I said I'm going to do. And another key fact that you can help yourself with here is single ownership. Okay, and let's just take a second to dissect this one. If you have shared ownership on a task, let's just use my floor for example. I'm going to do my floor, but I'm going to have Jimmy come over and help me. Right? What I do?
Small closet.
Right. Jimmy and I are going to be in the closet and come out together. We're going to finish that floor and come right out of the closet. No, okay. Can't say that. If I have Jimmy on that ticket with me to do my floor, now I have someone else to blame when it doesn't happen. And it's a mental thing. Like, you can easily justify not doing something if someone else is the other person that can have accountability for it. Right? I'm like, oh, Jimmy didn't get here on time. We can't start. Okay, Jimmy, stay home. You didn't get here on time. You know? So having a single owner when you have a project is actually pretty important. And let's just use a bigger project. Like, I'm going to redo my backyard. All of it. Like, a project I hope to do this summer, and my wife hopefully lets me do it with finances and whatnot when we work together to do that, is building an overhang over top of my back porch. I want to put in an overhang and build an overhang so I can go out there at any time, any weather, and not be rained on, not be pooped on by birds. I want to be able to grill in all weathers right underneath that outside covering. Okay. That is going to be a big task, and I'm not going to do it by myself. I have two guys that I already have in mind. I want to call in to help me with that one. And one of them is going to be easy. The other one's not going to be easy to get him, but I hope I can get him because it'll be a lot faster if he helps. He's like an expert carpenter. But even though that's a multi-person project, I have to accept ownership on that. I have to be the one that says, this is going to happen by this date, this time. I need to have the materials ready for people. If I include people, I need to take ownership, and I can't be like, so-and-so didn't get a saw, so we can't do this. I have to have everything in line and own it. And that's a step I have to take consciously, or it's just setting it up for failure. So Proverbs 10:9, whoever walks in integrity walks securely, right? Taking ownership in anything you do in your household builds security with those around you. Like, you will be looked at with a higher pedestal if you say you're going to do something and you own it, and you say I'm going to do it on this day, this time, and you do it, like we just said several times. Jimmy, thoughts?
Yeah, I've got those projects around the house too. Well, we were talking about one yesterday. I've got this light above the stairs that goes upstairs. There's a light above the stairs that is in the most awkward to get to location, and it's the ugliest chandelier type thing in our house. Like, I've swapped out all the other lights in the home. I'm really fairly decent at electrical work. Like, I'm competent. I've done it all. Simple things around the house. Like, that's not the issue. It's the place where it is above the stairs. How do I put the ladder up without dying? Like, I don't want to do that. And then the chandelier is heavy getting up the stairs. And so I just haven't ever dealt with it. And the thing is when we moved into this house 7.5 years ago or whatever, the light that is above the stairs has 3 light bulbs in it. And they were all lit when we bought the house. And then there was only 2 lights lit. And then there's only 1 light lit. And now for the last 2 years, there's no light. I can't reach it. Like, I can't get to it. That's why I haven't ever changed the light bulbs, because I don't have the ladder. It's above the stairs. I don't know how to do it without breaking my neck. But I want to switch out the light. And so we were just talking about it yesterday. Like, you have ladder, and maybe ladder. Someone helping hold the ladder so I don't die. I don't know. I need to make this my plan. And it's the sort of thing, I've been promising it for 7 years since we moved into this house, because we both hate this chandelier. It's this weird UFO looking thing from 1992. I don't know. It's weird. I think that's why no one else has ever switched it out, because no one else wanted to die.
Do you have a new light purchased yet?
No, we've gone to Home Depot and Menards and all the places and oh, that's a cool one. We should buy that. I don't really have about anything, but that would probably like help move things along if I had actually put some money on it. And then
I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I'll be your accountability partner. Okay. You get a light, you take ownership, and you set a date and get a light, and then I will bring a ladder over and I'll hold the ladder and I won't shake it uncontrollably while you do this. And I'll even hold the flashlight for you.
Oh, that'd be great. Because there won't be, it's a very dark corner when you have to flip the breaker box. There's no light it's a cave.
I'll be your light in a dark room, Jimmy.
Oh, good. That's great.
People are like, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
No, we'll set that
on
this
up. Edition of Hating Man Corner.
Yeah. We might just actually live stream this when we do this.
That's right.
All right. So think about this, dads. When was the last time you told your kid, I committed to this and I didn't do it? I'm filling the words. I said I was going to do this and I didn't do it. Okay. Mm-hmm. What kind of vague words do you use in your day-to-day interactions with your kids or your spouse? What do you make false promises? Like, do you make these promises knowing you're not going to do them? That's probably even a bigger issue, right? If you're saying, "Oh yeah, I'll do it," and you know you're not going to do it, that's a heart issue right there. If we get past that, that'd be a monumental task. But saying, committing to things and knowing that you have the wiggle room to bounce out of it and be like, I'll be okay. I think you need to rethink that mindset as dads. I think we need to own what we say. And you've heard people say, I'm a man of my word, blah, blah, blah. Are you actually a man of your word? Do you follow through with everything you say you're going to do to everybody, no matter how big or small? Maybe you do. Kudos to you. Find another guy in your life who doesn't and mentor him. Help him. That's what your job is now. If you're perfect in every way, shape, or form, and you think that you don't need this advice from DadSchoolPodcast.com, you can go to the comment section on there and tell us how you're perfect. But then go find a dude who's not perfect, because there's plenty of us out there, and mentor them. Help them. Who owns your household tasks? Like who does the work in your house? Is your spouse more handy than you? That could happen. That's okay. You shouldn't be threatened by that. You should be their accountability partner. Help them get supplies. Hold the light or the ladder for them. That's okay. It's called being a team player. It's okay not to be able to fix everything in your house. I get it. If you need to call a technician to do it, do that. That's being accountable. If you have something that's beyond your abilities and you feel inadequate as a dude, because you should be able to do this, fill in the blank, weld, do major plumbing, electrical work, you think you should do it because other dads on YouTube do it. Why can't you? Get over yourself. Call a technician in, have someone do it, pay the money, eat that pride, and then be happier, because the task will be done. You're a person of your word. You solve the problem. Your household's better. You do what you say you're going to do. Okay. And think about this. Another, I guess, multiple challenges this week, Jimmy. Buckle up, listeners. Does your kid, when your kid holds you accountable, when it's legit, when they're like, but you said you're going to do this, or are you going to do this like you said? What is coming out of your mouth to that? Are you being defensive? Are you acknowledging that you said you do something and affirming that you'll follow through and then doing that? Or, how are you going to respond to that? Think of those things. And then, Jimmy, what's our official dad challenge this week on top of everything I just threw at them?
Dad challenge this week is think of at least one thing. And if you've got to tackle more than one that have been on the back burner, then, maybe circle in a couple of them. But think of at least one thing that you're able to make that firm commitment with your spouse, your kids, and say, this is something that I'm going to get done on this day at this time. We have this appointment of it doing, like, I don't know if maybe not doing a project, but I'm going to be at your game. or we have this thing that we're going to do together. Make that firm commitment, and then hold yourself to it after the fact. Circle back and take account of what worked, what didn't, what were other hurdles that maybe I didn't expect whenever I actually took some ownership and put some direct energy behind it. Is there something that I need to build into my practice that might make this go better in the future? Give it some intentional thought. And you may not get it right the first time. That's okay. Like I was saying, like take stock of what worked, what didn't. And that's how we can improve. We don't expect perfection on the first go and then staying that way. But through humility, like, we can adjust and we can change course. And that's what we're here to try to help dads do.
Yeah, exactly. And if you are having trouble thinking of how to start this, if this is all overwhelming but it resonates with you, go to DadSchoolPodcast.com. Do it on your phone. The site should technically be mobile friendly, so it shouldn't be terrible. Go to DadSchoolPodcast.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Just like use your finger and have fun. All right, go to the bottom and then type in, "Hey, I'm having trouble with figuring out how to be accountable with my family. I'm having trouble. Tell me what's going on," and we will put our collective minds together and give you advice of some kind, good or bad. We'll give you something back because we care about you and we want to help. Luke 16:10, one who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. And that's very, very true. Keeping small promises, starting small. I will read this book to you at 8 p.m. tonight in your room. Be ready, little one, to your kid. Say that this evening and read a book. Have them pick a book out. Read a book with them for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Little small things that you can follow through. Simple as that. Builds lifelong trust, because your kid will look at that and be like, my dad follows through what he says. I can trust him. There, problem solved. DadSchoolPodcast.com. We accept donations. No, I'm joking. We're here for you. Please like, subscribe. Come back next week. We have content of some kind every week, good or bad. We're here. Closing thoughts, Jimmy.
Do the things.
Do the things and stuff. Okay. Have a good week. See you next time.
I really need to create a list of when you ask me for final thoughts. I'm not
final thoughts. Start giving me dad quotes or something.
Yeah. All right.
All right. See you next time. Bye.